So we will keep going with our register page. Okay, so what I would like to do now, so for example, when the user is about to register his account on Facebook on our app, we don't want to allow user to enter some invalid email or some invalid name or let's say some invalid information. So for that purpose we will write a function, and what I'm gonna do now, as this function of validation we're gonna use in different screen. One of these screens will be, let's say, register page. Another one will be to change user information when the user want to update his profile. So these screens will be calling the function of validation. So in order to make it easier to call this function from different uh, pages and to avoid retyping the same function, we will create a separate class that will store this function. Okay, I'll mouse click on the Facebook or on our project folder, new file. Here, let's create a Swift file, and I'm gonna name it just helper. Here we go. So this is our helper, and we will, instead of foundation, we will import UIKit. Then here we'll define a class, which is class helper and open curly brackets. So this is a separate class, the same which we use for register page. Here we go. And whatever we write here, then we'll be calling this class in order to call the function in this class. Okay, the first function which I would like to declare in this class is to register the email address. So for that purpose, we'll be using regular expression, which is called just a regex. And we write the function. We write func, and I'm gonna name this function is valid, open the round bracket, email colon, and of type string, and it will return the value of type bool. So here we are creating the function with the name is valid, which has a reference variable email of type string, and it must return boolean variable, which can be either true or false. Okay, here we'll create one constant, which is regex, and in quotation marks we'll write here this symbol, left dash d, left opening curly bracket 9 comma closing curly bracket. Oops, sorry, not that one. We'll write another one. So remove this all. In quotation marks, let's write a capital dash z 0 dash 9, then a lowercase dash z dot lowercase percentage sign plus minus or dash again, and closing the round brackets plus. Here we'll put at, then we're opening and closing square brackets. We write a to z, a dash z, then again lowercase a dash z, then again 0 dash 9, then we put dot dash, then we put here plus left dash dot, and here we write in the square brackets capital A dash z, or means A to Z, then lowercase a to z, and then we're closing the square brackets. Then in curly brackets we put 2 comma. Okay, so what it actually does, so regular expression is totally different syntax, but I will try to explain you in short in a few words. So here the first we're declaring here the format. So this one, it's, let's say, whatever comes before at. Let's say it can be Michael then comes at. So this is the first word, or this is actually your email. So here we're allowing the user to use from all the letters from A to Z, all the numbers from 0 to 9, then he can use lowercase, then he can use dot, he can use lowercase, then he can use plus minus, for example. Plus, then the next format at, let's say, gmail.com or whatsoever. Here we're allowing him to use all the letters from A to Z capital and lowercase a to Z. Then all the numbers 0 to 9. Then we're allowing him to use dot. Then we're allowing him to use dash. And plus, this is a compulsory end, which will be .com or .uk, etc. So we're allowing him to use A to Z, uppercase, then lowercase, and the minimum symbols must be 2 symbols minimum. So this is what he must use, a minimum 2 symbols. So he cannot just put there .k, for example. He can't. He must put minimum 2. So .uk or etc. Okay, so we will now declare a test. Let test equals to ns predicate. Open the round bracket, select with the format. Let's say that one. Format here, we will type self matches, then percentage mark and at. Here we write regex. Okay, so here we will write let result. So here what we're doing, we want this to be matching, and instead of that one it will put a regex. So self match this expression and we will apply this one. Let result equals test dot evaluate with email. So we have declared the rule which we want the email to be equal to. Then we apply this rule to our test predicate. Then result, we are just evaluating, we're evaluating the test with email which we have received. Okay, and we will, if our result equals to test evaluation with the email, so then it will be true. If it is not equal, it will be false. So we will return result, which can be of two types, true or false. So that one, validate email address function or logic. Okay, excellent. And another one which we want to validate is the full name. We don't want him to write some invalid or numbers instead of the name. Okay, here I'll write validate name function or logic. Okay, we write here func is valid, open the round bracket. Here we'll write name colon string, we're closing the round bracket, dash, then we're putting this arrow which is greater mark, return boolean, and opening the curly brackets. Okay, so we're gonna do the same logic, and the only thing we will change is the rule, which is the regex, regular expression. Let regex equals to, open the quotation marks, and in this quotation marks let's declare the logic, so which will be extremely simple. So we will not allow him to use any numbers in the name, and the minimum. So what we want to do is, while building the name, we don't want him to write let's say some numbers instead of his first name. We don't want him to put, let's say, 95 or 777 or whatsoever. And we don't want him to put a one character letter as a name, let's say just D or T or R or W. We want him to write at least 2 characters, let's say V or let's say C, so it can be a name in some countries. So this is the regular expression which we will be using. So for that purpose, as you know, so we want him to write from A to Z capital and A to Z lowercase. Okay, let's write it. Here we're writing in the square brackets A-Z uppercase, then lowercase A-Z. And we want the minimum symbols to be at least 2 characters. So here we put in the curly brackets 2, then comma. Okay, so this is the rule. So here we'll write let test equals to ns predicate. We select format with the arguments. Here we will again write self matches, then space percentage mark and at it self matches regular expression, and here we will now check the validation. Let result equals to test.evaluate with name. Here we go, and we are returning result. Excellent. So you'll be able to build this function. What we are doing here, we are first declaring the rule of regular expression or characters to be used. Then we are applying the rule to current state, and we are verifying the result. Means we're checking is email equals to rule. This is what we're doing. So this is the exact logic of this regular expression. So for the beginners, it will be definitely, I understand it will be quite difficult to understand, but with a regular expression, this comes as a rule. There is more a rule than a logic, so which you just need to learn. Okay, so we have created now two functions in the separated class, which is helper. Now we can now call these functions always rather than rewriting these functions in the different classes. Okay, so we will test the regular expression very quickly. What we will do is we can check now, once we click continue button, is the typed email address is valid or not. So let's go and do this.